it's like a black cloud hanging over our islands. You know, people talking very bad about us. You know, calling us barbarians, and yeah, it's a shame. If everything goes to the plan, they can be killed in maybe in minutes, but it doesn't go after the plan, and it takes a long time to drive them to the place where they have to be killed. And it's a torture from hours of torture. It is, and that is the real thing. I love the ocean, and I love the whales also. But as a Faroese, you are not supposed to love whales, you know. But yes, I'm totally against it. Also because of the way they are killed, you know, it will never be acceptable.
It is a job that you do, and you also feel very strongly about being a hunter in that special moment. Whaling has been a tradition in the Faroe Islands for at least 500-600 years. I learned it the old-fashioned way with being a boy in my village where I was brought up in the southernmost island in the Faroe Islands. And one of the person that taught me how to kill a whale the way it was done then was an old baker, and I was 14 years old. And then I have, of course, tried it many times, and the way that he taught me. Grind today is a food source among other food sources, and it's also a very strong part of Faroese identity, which means that, for example, myself as a hunter, it's a part of my identity as a hunter, as in other cultures where people hunt freely. The whale meat and the blubber as well is divided in community, and in my village, for example, where I was brought up, it's common to divide it between all equally. That means that if you're a newborn child, you get the same as the person that has used his boat and gas and everything to get the whales. And I think that is very, very beautiful.
It has been traditionally around 1/3 of our meat consumption, distributed in a very uncommercial way. And if we didn't have this meat in the Faroe Islands, we would have needed to import meat from industrialized countries. So it would be, the alternative would be that we should import perhaps 60,000 to 80,000 chicken, which have been living in a cage, never seen the sun, and import it, or perhaps 30,000 cows or calves that are producing as much blood as the whale are, but it's not in the eyesight of people. So if we eat meat, we know where it comes from. We take part in the whole process. We have respect for the animal. These are wild animals that have been living a free life, not in cages and so on. And I'm very proud when my children are taking part in this process.
The idea came from a whaler that instead of using the traditional knife, we could use that what we now call the spinal lance, which is a blade on a rod, and instead of cutting for 36 seconds with the knife, you can just cut down to the spinal cord in one blow. It takes around 1 second, and the whale will die immediately. The killing itself as such is not very much more cruel than killing a cow.
So it's not the same. The other thing is what I call you torture them to death to tell the truth. It makes me feel sad, very sad, because I know that most people they don't care, they don't feel anything, they don't give a shit about the suffering. because they think about this fantastic food they're getting. Huh? It's a part of the Faroese culture, and it's therefore so extremely difficult to change that. You know, you can't say that because the whale have a free life, you can kill them any way you like to, because they have had a free life. It does not. That's not okay.
When you go hunting whales, is that we do it in an open abattoir where everybody can see what goes on, which doesn't happen when you kill other animals, because very few people or cameras are allowed into other closed abattoirs. And these pictures are spectacular, and these people may upset people when they see them if they don't know what is behind what happens. We live in a part of the world where we with one leg stand in the old historical part where we are self-supplying. We can go out fishing, we can go hunting whales, we prepare the food, we slaughter it and so on. And at the same time, these people who do that might have an academic education, they teachers like myself, they can be solicitors and so on. So we are, I think, we are living in a part of the world that other people have been, that's very far away from other people. They'd rather eat a tenderloin from cattle being kept in being caught for the purpose of being slaughtered for food, than having that we can eat something that has been living free until it's killed. You know, I feel more pity for people who make a decision on ignorance or lack of knowledge about a thing that they have never experienced.
I wanted to stop now, as soon as possible, but because of the pressure from outside, it has been delayed. Because before the Sea Shepherd came to the islands, people were really starting, you know, something was happening in the right direction. But when the Sea Shepherd came, you know, everybody, you know, stepped forward, and you know, and all the work we had done about this, everything just fell to the ground, and start all over.
I would say to all campaigners, you're always welcome to the Faroe Islands to see and to visit and take part in this sole example on what you actually are striving for, namely to preserve nature, to have sustainability, to have respect for environment, to have respect for animals. So if you could come to the Faroe Islands with that perspective, I think you would change your mind and think, well, we thought this was an example of barbarians killing whales, but it's actually an example of how you can also, in the modern world of today, be civilized. I often get that feeling that for people living in big cities and in societies where you actually have, through industrialization, you have actually forgotten all about nature, that you now use the Faroes whale hunting as a kind of buying your conscience out.
I don't think that people in the Faroes are mad because other people try to tell people here how to live their lives, but I think that a lot of people are very sad in the Faroes, and that is due to the fact that the only thing that people are doing is they're providing food for themselves, and I have never met a Faroe Islander who yet has judged a person that lives in a big city, for example London or New York, every time they go out to buy a chicken or a piece of a cow that also is a living animal.